GamerCast Network.
Hey. All right. It's a video game show. It's a video game show. It's not a game show about videos. It's a video game show.
Welcome to the GamerCast Network video game show for Sunday, February 22nd, 2009. This is episode number 130. I'm Chad, and this week for the roll call, a question from Tom.
Before we started recording the episode, Bob and I were talking about how there's games implanted into Skype. And so my question for this week is, have you actually ever gamed on one of these alternative platforms now that everything wants to be a platform for gaming?
And joining us this evening is Ivan.
I try and stay away from all the gaming crap on Facebook and God only knows what else. I use Facebook to keep in touch with people who I've lost touch with, and that's all I do. For me, I jokingly said played Bejeweled inside of World of Warcraft, and that's about the extent of my odd platform gaming.
And also joining us is Tom.
I play those little stupid games on my cell phone. I'll download like the $3 Texas Hold'em and like the $3 slot machine casino games, because it gives me something to do while I'm on the can.
Well, is that an alternative gaming platform then?
Yes, I would say that the iPhone definitely qualifies as an unusual platform for gaming.
Okay. I currently have 27 games loaded onto my iPhone.
Although, you know what? During the show, I am going to download Bejeweled for Facebook, and we'll see how it goes.
My problem with that, though, is that why wouldn't you just play on PopCap? You're at a computer.
My guess is that it's going to have some kind of social tie-in, right? I should be able to get some kind of top scores among all my friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jill's been playing it. There's like a friend top 10 list of whatever. I think it like resets every week.
And plus the guy who made Bejeweled Blitz for Facebook is a friend of the show.
Oh, Scott Lance.
Yeah, he's the Facebook guy at PopCap.
Well, that's quaint.
That's quaint.
And also joining us tonight is Phil.
I guess the only real alternative gaming device that I have would be my Zune. Just before my trip last week, I installed the new update or whatever and figured I'd update some of the games too just to see what was available.
I like this Sudoku. Did you play this Sudoku?
Yeah, I tried the Sudoku. It wasn't too bad. I just suck at it.
How are the controls on? Can you put temporary numbers in, the little squares and everything?
I want to say that you cannot do temporary numbers on the version that's on Zune.
I'm seriously not trying to start a fight with the two, but the regular iPod version I had with the click wheel, you hit like the middle button and it goes from pen to pencil or something like that. When you're in the pencil mode, it'll put a little number in until you figure out more of the squares around it. And then you go back in. When you figure it out, you can put it in pen.
Listen to that, Tom. He's trying to start a fight between Zune and iPod.
Moving on. Also joining us is Keith.
I'd have to say probably one of them Tiger handheld poker games, because I don't really do any of the other alternative gaming stuff. Or if we go back far enough, the little handheld football games and fighting games.
And finally joining us is Bob.
I've played like the demo version of Miss Pac-Man on my cell phone, but I'm too cheap to pay the $2 to get the full version, so I can only play for 3 minutes at a time, so I never actually finish a board. And I as well have, I think the last handheld thingy that I played was something my parents got me for Christmas. That, you remember, Keith, that handheld bass fishing game?
Mm-hmm. That thing was actually pretty sweet.
I think the last one I actually played seriously for any length of time was probably a cell phone one, probably Crosswords. Yeah, see, I'm lame.
Yeah, but what we're really getting at is none of us really answered the question the way Tom wanted us to, which was, yeah, I play this on Facebook. Yes, I play this in this web browser app.
Yeah, but we don't play that. So how do you answer it if you don't do it?
If my computer's on, I can just play a normal game.
This week on the GamerCast Network. On Sarcastic Gamer Pink, the ladies discuss video game nudity and crazy Xbox Live Arcade titles. Check out the Post Game Report to get all the facts. Post game. On Retro Force Go, it's all Street Fighter all the time. Chun-Li's massive thighs, Ryu's package, Zangief's chest hair. It's a Street Fighter explosion. On Sarcastic Gamer, full frontal male nudity, compliments of the lost and the damned. Discover the community that brings you all these great podcasts and more. GamerCastNetwork.com.
Next topic.
So, Bob, you tried Dawn of War 2.
Yes, I did.
And what are your impressions of Dawn of War 2?
I kind of was unsure what to think when I was going into the game, because I had heard all this hemming and hawing on various forums and sites about they totally changed the gameplay. And then Chris was saying something about, oh no, the campaign is like an action RPG now. It's not like an RTS. First of all, for anybody who's played Dawn of War 1, and you liked playing the multiplayer skirmishes, it's pretty much still Dawn of War in the multiplayer skirmishes. The only difference is you don't actually build buildings anymore. Plus side to this is the whole board now is built for battling, so they don't have to like leave all this big open space for building. I didn't get much into the campaign mode. It seemed like it would be fun, sort of, except they force you to be Space Marines, and I don't like Space Marines, and I wanted to play Orcs.
Isn't there chaos?
No, there's no chaos. They are Tyranid, Space Marines, Orcs, and Eldar are the races.
They didn't put Chaos Marines back in. Well, it's good to have another Orc on the side.
Yeah. The campaign, your squad commanders and everything level up, but it's real kind of generic leveling up. You have like 4 stats. You have health, melee, ranged, and energy. When you level, like if you get like 5 points into health, it unlocks an ability. Depends on what kind of guy it is, but it'll unlock an ability like, click this button to regenerate or click this button to gain armor for a certain amount of time. But there's no real skill tree. It's leveling in the most basic way.
It's not like persistent character leveling.
No. I mean, I guess it's persistent, but you can't use those characters in the skirmishes, so it's just for campaign, and there's no persistence in the skirmishes at all. I was kind of under the impression that the RPG components were going to carry over to the skirmishes, and I was really looking forward to that. And when that didn't happen, I was kind of really disappointed.
That was our thing with Warlords Battlecry, was that we had our heroes. Hell, it got to the point where we didn't even bother making armies anymore. We just ran out with our heroes.
They got to like level like 50, 60, and they're really deep leveling skill trees and stuff. I didn't expect it to be that deep, but I expected something, and it wasn't there. It keeps the multiplayer online balanced, I guess. Otherwise, they'd have to have some kind of BattleNet or something like that, where they'd have to keep your guys online so you couldn't hack the files. And I guess that's the best way to keep it fair. I would have rather they had a second game type where you could just do skirmishes with the default, or you can do like your RPG skirmishes where you keep a guy around, since everything existed in the game anyway. Other than that, the game looks really good. I remember them saying with the first game was they wanted to make every troop count. So when you zoomed in and watched them battling each other, they weren't like swinging 2 feet away and doing some generic animation. They do some really cool stuff, like the war bosses. When you order them to attack people, they'll get real close and take like their big giant claw thing, grab a guy off the ground, snap his head off, and then bash the guy against whatever rock happens to be nearby. I mean, if you zoom in, it looks really, really cool, and everything is super duper detailed. The thing that pissed me off the most, even though I bought it through Steam, it forces you to use Windows Live for all the achievements, and you have to log on, and if you want to do multiplayer, it's all done through there. It's not done through Steam, which seemed really, really ridiculous, and it was really, really annoying, because I got like 3 different things popping up to tell me that, H. Palladino is online, and then Steam's coming up and telling me somebody's online, and I have like 3 different things trying to get me to play games on their service, and it was very, very annoying.
Okay, so summing up here, would you say it's worth the $50 that you spent on it?
The gameplay is essentially the same as Dawn of War. I was really looking forward to that persistent RPG kind of style to it. And even if the campaign would have given you choices between, what characters you can be or what race you could be, that probably would have given it a little better for me. Right now, if we're going to play multiplayer, it's going to be just like we did on Dawn of War. It's a great sequel, don't get me wrong, but all this talk about how different they made it, without all the building and everything, it's really not that different. The actual fighting and gameplay, once you have your guys, is exactly the same. It just looks a lot better, and it's a lot cleaner.
I like Warhammer 40,000. I'll probably get it simply because it's Warhammer 40,000. But from what I've seen and what I've heard, I'm in no rush.
I'd wait for the half-off weekend, because it'll happen eventually. Oh, wait, I was looking at my notes. Somebody's going to yell if I don't bring this up. Your guys in the campaign, like your war boss or whoever you choose as your hero character, they actually do level when you're doing skirmishes, but it's not like in the campaign. They just level, and it's like, war boss hit level 2. War boss hit level 3, and I guess he's tougher, and the only way I can tell that is because the guy physically grows, but I think that's probably just because he's an orc. So I'm clicking on everything and can't get whatever window I think is supposed to open so I can get to his stats. They're just not there, and I just you kind of just figure that out after a while. They never really tell you. The manual is not terribly helpful. It's like 5 pages long and doesn't tell you anything. So they do level, but it's not like in the campaign. And the campaign is only 2-player. So you're forced to be Space Marines, and it's only 2-player cooperative, which means it's of no use to me at all.
Okay. And I'm sure no one would have yelled at you had you not included that.
Dude, really? Nobody would have emailed us if I made a factual error in the game. I'm sure I f***ed up something anyway.
Next topic.
Let's see. Anybody do anything else?
Tried that, was it Iron Grip Warlord?
Oh, yeah, that's the one that Chris mentioned last week.
Yeah, the demo. It's a very average first-person shooter.
Now, is this one like a tower defense kind of game?
Yeah, it kind of is. You have to get their morale to 0 and go kill their commander a couple times while you're holding a base.
You have to kill their commander a couple times. Once is not enough.
Yes, once is not enough.
His spirit still lingers. You must crush him utterly.
And they have, like, as you kill enemies, you get power is what it's called, and you buy weapons and upgrades with power. It's all right, but there's nothing special, nothing stand out about it. It's just very average in every way. I wouldn't see any real reason to go out and buy that over anything else.
No cool guns?
Not really. You have light machine gun, medium machine gun, heavy machine gun, flamethrower, landmines. I mean, it's just Molotov. It's just like all just average.
And what's the average price?
I want to say it's $25. I wouldn't pay what it is.
That's pretty average.
Yeah, that's pretty average. Well, that's a rousing review for it. Average. Okay.
Arousing?
Hey, it doesn't take much.
The average works for Chad.
Yes.
Next topic.
I tried Psychonauts.
Oh,
Really?
It does live up to the hype. I mean, first off, the game came out 4 years ago, so the graphics aren't what you consider like state of the art, but it is a very fun action kind of game, which I think you can get through Xbox Live, right?
Yeah, it's one of the originals.
Yeah, I think I would recommend that. If people want to try Psychonauts, I wouldn't recommend using the keyboard and mouse. The whole control scheme is a little wonky. It's kind of hard to maneuver and use the mouse for the camera and everything. I'd probably play much better with a gamepad. The game itself is kind of like a little action game. It's got like all kinds of offbeat humor. This is by Tim Schafer. If you played his older games like Grim Fandango, Full Throttle, Monkey Island, it's got that whole same kind of brand of humor, except this is an action game and those were adventure games. You're a little kid in this like psychic ESP kind of camp.
all right. So far, you're not selling this at all. You're a little kid who's a mage.
Well, no.
Exactly.
Continue.
No,
But keep going.
no, the selling point is that it might seem like it's kids and whatnot, but the humor is very funny. If you've played his older games, have you ever played Monkey Island?
Yes, I did. I like Monkey Island, but I wasn't a kid with psychic powers.
Well, still, you'll like this one. It's the same kind of humor. You level up, you get new powers, you make your powers better. What more could you ask for?
To not be a kid
Okay,
with magic, to be a man with a sword who can stab things.
Spite.
you use your mind to shoot things at people and light them on fire and toss them around.
Do you have any melee attacks?
Yeah, you have a psychic hand that comes out and starts whacking people around.
The psychic hand that comes out and starts whacking. Is that what you just said?
Starts hitting people. Okay, it's a big psychic hand that comes out and starts... Go ahead, twist my words. It's fine.
I will. Thank you.
I do this nice service and actually play the game for you guys. The game is critically acclaimed that no one here has actually played.
Oh, listen to you now that you've played it after owning it and not playing it for how long?
Hey, I was busy when I bought it, and then I forgot it was in a box. And I just remembered it like when you mentioned it last week. Hey, at least I played it.
Hey, play the game over here. Hey.
Does it have a demo on Xbox Live?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's like $10 and you gotta get the whole thing.
Because it's a Xbox One game that they made available for download.
You know, I do think there is a PC demo for it, though. But it's not through Steam, so you'd have to install it manually. So I would say if you like his older games, Monkey Island, Full Throttle, Grim Fandango, you'd probably like this one.
Next topic.
And I also played one Shinbara, Bikini Zombie Slayers, for the Wii.
This I want to hear about.
Is she jiggly?
You're dealing with the Wii graphics here.
She's polygony.
Moving pixely?
It's not the greatest graphics in the world. I mean, honestly, I guess she was kind of scantily clad, but, it wasn't looking the best in the world. It just was.
So it was right up your alley. It was very average.
Yeah, it was very average, very average. There's two characters you start out with. One's a schoolgirl, and one's the bikini-wearing cowboy hat chick.
At least the Asians are giving us a choice.
So I picked the bikini-clad one with the cowboy hat. I think the games are very short, so I was actually going to try and play both of them, but I've actually given up on the game because it just pissed me off so much.
Wow.
Yeah, it's... The problem is, here's how you play it. So the game is a third-person kind of game, and you use the Wiimote and the nunchuck, and you use the nunchuck, the little controller pad on there to move your character around. You use the Wiimote, you waggle it up and down to execute your attacks.
Okay.
The more you waggle up and down, the more longer combos you can do.
So the more you waggle your remote,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
See, I'm not even trying to be perverted
I
with
know.
this one. But the more you waggle your remote, the longer your attack is.
Yes.
So it's better to just sit there waggling the remote and just throw off a huge string of things.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh.
Well, the thing is, there are finishing moves. There are other moves to execute. You can do things like supposedly you can thrust the remote.
Oh, jeez, come on now.
Hang on.
What are you doing?
This is why I stopped playing the game, actually. For 99% of the monsters in the game, you can just waggle up and down and you'll kill them. The zombies. You're slicing the zombies up, okay? You're cutting their heads off, cutting their arms off, cutting their legs off, cutting them at the waist, that kind of stuff. For 99% of the guys you fight, if you waggle, you're fine. Now, for the small 1% of the guys you gotta fight, there's a very small 1% of the guys you gotta fight that require special moves. Like, they're these mudmen zombies, and they have these hearts in them that you have to rip out. You have to pull off this move. The thing is, they don't do a tutorial to explain how to do the move. They explain with a text and a picture. For like 10 minutes, I was trying to do this move, which was like, after waggling up and down 3 or 4 times, thrust the Wiimote to pull the heart out, and I couldn't do it.
Waggle up and down 3 to 4 times, then thrust.
Yes. Go ahead.
Oh,
Move is called the reverse cowgirl.
Giddy up.
I came across 2 of these mudmen, which I couldn't get past, because I couldn't figure out how to do this move, and I said, screw it, I turned it off, and I'm not going to go play it again, because I'm tired of it.
So did the game actually feel like you were kind of sword fighting, or was it just kind of take your hand and kind of shake it back and forth at the wrist, and that's about it?
I wish it was some sort of sword fighting, but no, it was just take your hand and move it up and down. Go ahead, insert joke there, but yeah, it's just waggling your right hand up and down for killing everything.
Well, I'm a lefty, and I'm more practiced using my left hand with that sort of emotion. Would I be able to switch hands for the remote controllers, and instead of waggling my right hand, waggle my left hand?
It might feel a little more uncomfortable.
It's going to feel like somebody else is playing the game.
In the end, I can't recommend the game.
In the end.
Yeah.
Get in the caboose!
I give. I'm done. I tried. See, I tried 2 games for the show.
Well done, and I tried 1. So you tried twice as many as me. Good for you.
Next topic.
Would you be interested in non-gaming achievements for Xbox Live?
Like, you've washed yourself. Good job. You've unlocked shower.
You've flushed successfully. Congratulations.
So, I guess there's a beta program for Microsoft Game Studios. Members of this program were given a survey. And on this survey, there were questions about achievements. What would be your interest in user-determined achievements for a game? The community says, like, you should add these achievements to Fallout 3, or add these achievements to Halo. It'd be really cool if you got, like, an achievement for killing 5 guys with a headshot, something like that. Another possibility was, what would be your interest in non-gaming achievements for just using your Xbox 360, such as you've watched 50 DVDs?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, big sigh.
Well, why don't we ask our resident achievement whore? Tom?
No, I don't like achievements anymore. I'm through that phase.
Aww.
Aw, our little kid is all growing up now.
It's growing up so fast.
I just realized I had like a couple months ago, where I was just in a slump where I was just coming home playing Xbox all the time, so I just thought that I liked achievements. Turns out I was just in a slump.
You're going through a phase.
I was going through a phase.
Now you've matured and realized they're pointless. Right?
Yes.
They're pointless, right? Say they're pointless.
Yes.
I want you to say the words, though. Say the words.
Oh, achievements are pointless.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, excellent. Now denounce your god.
Now, do you think that the user-determined achievements would be interesting?
No, because you're going to get 13-year-olds saying, I teabagged a guy in Halo 15 times.
The achievement would be called mouthwash.
Yeah, collaborative feedback is always a path to mediocrity. Just take a look at our democracy. People are stupid. Their feedback should never be taken into consideration. If you're a game designer, come up with a creative idea and build your own vision.
If you're a good developer, you're a gamer anyway, so you don't need advice from gamers on how to make achievements because you're a freaking gamer and a developer, and it's your game.
It's same thing with music. Anything that's like new and a really original idea will never be embraced at first, just because it's new and it's hard to like understand. You guys ever had that where like, you know, you get an album by a band and you listen to it, and the first time you listen to it you can't stand it, and then like a year later it's like one of your favorite albums ever, like once you've taken the time to adjust to it?
Yes.
Yes. been there.
I think ideas for new games are the exact same way. And if you keep taking all of your feedback based on what people are used to and what they want in a game, you're never going to push the envelope and you're never going to get anything good out. But honestly, though, it's a great way to make money because people will buy what they're comfortable with. Unfortunately, it doesn't lead to any original ideas. And then,
Average.
yeah, exactly what Tom said. It's a pathway to mediocrity. It's the best way to get an average game that nobody's going to remember in a year.
But can you make a sequel?
I think, yes, I like sequels. I'm a big fan of sequels because you need the first game to come out and then nobody buys it. And then all of a sudden people get, like I said, they'll get used to it. They'll embrace the new idea and they'll really like it. And then you get enough money for the sequel to make the game how you originally wanted to make it, but you had so low of a budget you couldn't. But then the third sequel, you don't want to make because it always ends up just running the franchise into the ground.
Dancing and singing in a lounge bar.
Yeah.
That's how every third thing ends up. Dancing and singing in a lounge bar.
You got to stop at number 2 and just let it end. What's the best X-Men? X-Men number 2. Number 3 just kind of sucked, and there was too much weird humor, and the Juggernaut had to pee. Nobody wants to hear that. Best Spider-Man was Spider-Man number 2, because it was after Spider-Man 1 when they got all the money, and then they made Spider-Man 3, and ended up dancing and singing in a lounge bar. And nobody wants to see that. Third sequel always sucks.
Next topic.
Mailbag!
Mailbag!
Very good.
Mailbag.
That probably peaked to all hell. Let me go look at my oh, God, that's ugly.
It'll be fine. Trust me.
Let me go back a little bit. Hold on. Mailbag!
Mailbag!
Oh, that's a good one. That's good. That's all in there.
Mailbag.
It'll work. Trust me. I can make it work.
It'll still sound clippy. Use the second one.
We need to hire the Unreal Tournament guy so he'd be like, mailbag. I don't know, something like that.
Mailbag. Yeah.
Okay. A couple people tell us we should try Fear 2.
I did. I played the demo. I tried it.
I understand that.
These are people who haven't started listening to the show yet. These is their first email, and
Oh, that's sweet. Let's ruin their day. Let's go.
Hey, y'all, Southster here. Just wanted to call y'all up to say that Fear 2 Project Origin is actually pretty badass and a great departure from the previous game. They have worked in the horror formula to the actual baddies, so you're not just fighting replicas this time. And some of them guys are pretty badass, using a lot of the visual effects to their own advantage on trying to kill you. So just wanted to say that y'all should really check it out before y'all continue to bash it, and to have a nice weekend.
I'm only bashing it based on what they allowed me to play.
Hang on. And then at the same time, we got this message from Mark from England.
Ooh, more. Yay.
Yes, I agree that the Fear 2 demo sucked, but I rented the full game and it is amazing. The graphics are great, the storyline rocks, and the game has made me jump and freak out so many times I have lost count. I have learned not to judge games by demos. For example, Test Drive and Limited demo sucked, but the game is a true gem and, in my opinion, is the best racing game for the Xbox 360. Take my advice and at least rent Fear 2. You will be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, but aren't demos out there to give you a feel of what the game's supposed to be like?
Exactly.
I mean, if they're not putting out a good demo, that's the company's fault for them not being able to move the product off the shelf.
So, you have no intention of even trying Fear 2.
I did try it, the demo. It wasn't good. Why would I go pay money for a game that I played that I didn't think was that great?
I'll wait for the day when it's $20 on a Steam weekend or something. Maybe then.
I mean, honestly, it's like, okay, so the real game is good, but what I played wasn't good, so why would I want to go buy the game? They should have put out a better demo.
Did we really bash it that much? I mean, from what I remember listening to, I didn't think we really bashed it that bad.
We basically said, yeah, it's Fear, but just play the first one. It's the same thing. They didn't do anything extra with it.
Well, at least based on the demo. These guys are trying to tell us that in fact is incorrect.
And that's their job for making a bad demo.
They can go ahead and send me a full copy of the game, which I will be happy to review and then report back on the show next week. Otherwise, I'm going to inform my listeners not to buy their game based on what I got to play on the demo.
What Bob said.
Suck it.
Yeah.
Let's
What?
see
What?
here. What?
I don't know. We just had a yeah and a suck it. I felt like we needed a what.
Next topic.
Here's another piece of mail from Tony. My company is interested in getting involved in the iPhone game industry and are in the process of brainstorming. I would like to know if there are any types of games you think would work particularly well or would like to see developed, or genres you already think work well but could be improved on for the iPhone. Thanks for your input.
Ivan, no one will interrupt you.
I will interrupt you because you can get this type of advice for our standard consulting fee. Please contact Chad at GamerCastNetwork.com for more details.
yeah, I was gonna say this guy. If your company's coming to us for your business strategy, I think he
Donuts. Invest in donuts.
Spare no expense on acquiring the Krispy Kreme franchise name because there's a game in there. By God, there's a game.
My thoughts are that iPhone is still iPhone, yeah, it's got a touch screen. So the games that work the best are the casual type things, Tetris or Bejeweled, and on an iPhone, it's marginally acceptable. It's better than not playing anything while you're on the bus or in the bathroom. Those types of games excel on the iPhone because they're done really well. The graphics can be done much better. The controls can be done much better. The things I don't like to see on the iPhone are full featured role-playing games with movement, Diablo-type games. They don't work.
Like, how about a good turn-based strategy game? Would that be feasible on the iPhone?
Let's see. I'm trying to think if I've tried anything even remotely like that. So if it works well on a DS, it'll work okay on an iPhone. The problem with the iPhone versus the DS is there's no control pad. There's no buttons. So it's all touchscreen. So any game that works well with just touching, like Puzzle Quest or something where you don't ever have to really use the buttons, will work okay as long as it's not highly detailed.
So not like Monster Lab, where you have to find detail of the stylus to do the mini games.
Right. Detail with the stylus is difficult on the iPhone because you don't have a stylus. But stuff like Bejeweled works really well because you don't have to be that accurate. And you can get more in-depth. Stuff like Aurora Faint, which is a Bejeweled-type matching game with more role-playing game features built into it, works really well. I have an Uno game. Card games work really well. Poker games work really well.
So there you go. Some kind of a card-based game, like a Magic-type Cold Step Saga kind of game could probably work.
Dice games work really well because you can build the cute little feature in where you can shake the phone.
So you can also do a game kind of like a Dragon Dice, where the dice are actual units. That would probably work.
And the other type of games I don't care for a lot are the accelerometer games. So something like Monkey Ball, where there's no controls at all, even the touchscreen. You just move the phone around. It works okay. The accelerometer on the iPhone is accurate, but it's not, perfect. It also gets to a point, if you hold your phone up to your face, once you get 90 degrees where the screen is facing straight up, well, now you can't see the phone anymore. So you know what I mean? So you've got limited movement that you can, back and forth movement. So I don't personally care for those kinds of games. So there you go.
Next topic.
This is a follow-up to Resident Evil 5's controls. This is from Josh.
Oh, here we go. You're stupid. They're the best controls ever.
Stop being such a noob.
I was listening to episode 129 and I wanted to comment on your talk about Resident Evil 5's controls, the whole turnaround slow bit. If you tap back on the left joystick and tap A at the same time, your character will do a 180 degree pivot. It's a little trick that has saved me more than once. Keep up the great show.
Wow, he didn't yell at us and gave us information. I almost want to slap him anyway, just because it's like the normal reaction.
I'm going to assume he's being very smug when he sent that. Keep up the great show. I mean, you guys are doing a fantastic job with your really accurate information that I'm sure is helping a lot of people like that. That's how I'm going to assume he talked. So thanks a lot, jackass.
We're such I love
Yeah,
it.
we are.
We really, really are.
And by the way, he did like the Team Fortress 2 voice.
And again, I'm just going to assume he said, yeah, and I really liked that Team Fortress 2 voice. That was great. Yeah, keep that up. That's awesome. Thanks. You guys do a great job. Great.
Our fans are such dicks.
Next topic.
How was your Cancun trip there, Phil?
Ham sandwich, 2 chicks that go topless on the beach.
Did you see a lot of that?
2 instances in particular. No, it wasn't some 60-year-old fat woman that was walking topless on the beach.
I'm assuming as much, but there had to be a couple of those.
There was a couple.
You got to take the good with the bad. You take them both, and there you have.
And what happened with your toe?
Yeah, Shadow Dream Pie to getting injured on vacation. Since the hurricanes have blasted through the Gulf over the last few years, a lot of the beaches have been severely depleted. They've sucked away so much sand into the Gulf that all that's left is, a little bit of sand and the rock that's underneath the sand. We were walking out to go swim in the Gulf. I got about 5-10 feet into the water, and I stepped on a rock, and then a wave kind of crashed down on me, and the undertow kind of pulled me. I slipped and twisted my foot and cut my foot open. Well, I didn't realize I did that, and I had gotten sand in the cut.
Nothing like sand and salt in a fresh open wound.
The cut more or less looked like a blister that had burst open, and so basically I had kind of like a pocket of skin.
Oh, dude, I'm making a not happy face right now, just so you're aware.
Jesus.
This isn't my happy face.
Well, that's exactly the face that I saw as people were walking by as the lifeguard was taking a sewing needle to dig the sand out.
Okay, yeah. Cheddar Dream Pie. There you go.
Cheddar Dream Pie. Okay, subject closed. All right.
So ham sandwich to Alejandro for digging sand out of my foot.
The Hondro?
Alejandro, yes.
Oh, I thought you meant Alejandro, like that was his name. I am the Hondro.
I am the Hondro, and like get a little guitar flourish in the background as he stands majestically against the sunset with a needle in his hand, ready to save the day. I am Alejandro.
He puts a little H on your blister when he's done with the sewing needle.
Dude, I got this total visual in my head now of like, I have saved you, my little one. Come, we must go. And he picks you up in his arms and sweeps you away into the sunset. You have been saved by Alejandro.
He fought off Triple H behind one of the sand dunes with his needle.
No, I've been foiled by Alejandro. Curse you. You've taken my love.
Again, I reiterate, we're dicks.
And that was Video Game Show episode number 130 for Sunday, February 22nd, 2009. Any ham sandwiches or Cheddar Dream Pies to give to the world, gentleman?
I'd like to give a Shattered Dream Pie to the doctor that rear-ended my car yesterday coming home from Sue's sister's house.
Was it a nice car?
Yes. And actually, a cop drove by as I'm sitting there getting the insurance information from the guy. So we're sitting in the back of the cop car, and my car is the one that's up, mind you. He's like, I hope there's no damage to my car because it's a lot more expensive than yours.
Wow. Did you tell him you are so lucky that we're both in a cop car right now?
You should have been like, well, good thing you're a doctor.
So if I break your arm, you'll know how to fix it, right, Doc? Yeah, so Shattered Dream Pie to that guy because he doesn't know how to stop.
And a ham sandwich to Godfrey and Gamertag Radio, which just had their Community Vibes 4 event this last weekend. This week for the Gamercast Network Gaming Nights, they're playing Burnout Paradise on the Xbox 360. Go to the Gamercast Network forums at gamercastnetwork.com/forums for all the details. And as usual, send your comments, questions, queries, concerns, or roll call question to the mailbag at mailbag@videogameshow.org, Skype us at videogameshow, or call us at 320-300-GAME. That is a standard long-distance call, and all normal fees apply. And that's a wrap. Good night.
Did you step on coral? That was my guess.
It was a rock, and it's kind of like smooth coral.
Wait, you stepped on a smooth surface and you hurt your toe?
Yeah, a perfectly smooth surface and cut my foot open. Yeah, that makes sense.
Damn!
Oh, wow!
You, Tom! Bam!